Pakistan's superior judiciary has been criticized for its excesses, often done under the guise of being the protector of the constitution and upholder of the rule of law. Some who challenge the legitimacy of the judiciary's not-so-kosher actions have found themselves facing contempt of court charges. The judicial activism seen in Pakistan today has a long and troubling history, starting with the Maulvi Tamizuddin case in 1954, where the then Chief Justice of Pakistan Muhammad Munir declared the dissolution of the Legislative Assembly legally valid. In recent times, these excesses have morphed into needless suo motu actions, as well as interference in political decisions, which have damaged both democracy and institutions of governance. Now we talk about legacy of the lawyers' movement. The lawyers' movement of 2007 to 2009 was a grassroots-level movement that engaged local bar councils from across the country and political parties. However, when President Asif Ali Zardari failed to reinstate judges sacked by his predecessor, General Musharraf, the movement started targeting him for reneging on his promises. This fractured the lawyers' movement into pro-judiciary and pro-government camps, ushering in a new era of political and establishment intervention in the judiciary. Despite the fact that the modern judiciary is the brainchild of a mass movement, it has not been able to shake the impression of being controlled by the establishment, primarily due to the superior judiciary being accused of involvement in political engineering and regime changes. Now we talk about some recent events. The recent suo motu action by the Supreme Court over delay in the elections of Punjab and KP is being called out by legal experts and some judges of the Supreme Court as unjustified. Justice Jamal Khan Mandokile pointed out that the bench of Justice Ijazul Ahsan and Mazahir Ali Akbar Naqvi summoned the Chief Election Commissioner and asked about the delay in elections in Punjab. Justice Yahya Afridi termed it judicial preemptive eagerness to decide, and Justice Mansoor Ali Shah noted that the inclusion of Justice Mazahir Ali Akbar Naqvi, the subject of an audio leak controversy, in the same bench was inappropriate. This controversial judicial episode shows that it does not matter if the decisions taken in the end are correct, but what matters is the way in which those decisions are taken. Justice must not only be done, but it must also be seen to be done. Now we see the impact of judicial activism beyond politics. Judicial activism has dire economic consequences, such as hurting investor sentiment and turning public sentiment against the courts. It also weakens democracy, as it comes at the expense of parliamentary sovereignty and supremacy. Examples include the botched privatization of Pakistan's steel mills in 2006 at the hands of the Supreme Court, which has cost the national exchequer an exorbitant amount. Judicial activism also weakens democracy, as it comes at the expense of parliamentary sovereignty and supremacy. In Pakistan, the weakening of democracy goes hand in hand with strengthening of the military, as evidenced by the Zafar Ali Shah case and the Begum Nusrat Bhutto case.
Now we look at reforming the judicial system. The most important details in this text are that the administrative authority of the Supreme Court (CJP) must be curtailed, an independent and objective criterion for the selection of judicial nominees must be introduced, and the use of discretion to pick and choose judges for specific cases must be regulated. The legislative and executive branches must also stop involving the courts in issues that fall within the political domain. Finally, judges must realize that they are not above criticism and must submit themselves to institutional checks and balances. History reveals dire consequences of politicized courts and judicialized politics, and it is high time to break the cycle of institutional transgressions in order to gain a foothold in democracy in Pakistan.